screen. Okay, check. Adapt and overcome. Good evening. I have to start off by saying I was threatened with bodily harm tonight because the Nationals are playing, and I was told to speak quickly. I'll do my best. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Dr. Charlene Dukes, the president of the Prince George's Community College and the Board of Trustees, welcome to the graduation ceremony for Session 47 of the Prince George's Community College Municipal Police Academy. I am Academy Director Purcell Alston, and at this time, I would ask that you silence all cell phones so as to not distract from this evening's ceremony. If you violate this rule, I will make you put your cell phones in your car. Some of you know what that's about. Please feel free to take photographs at any time during this evening's procedures or during the ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pride that I present to you the members of our graduating class, Session 47. At this time, I would like to call upon our police chaplain from the City of Bowie Police Department, Chaplain Johnny Hodge, for the invocation. Will everyone please rise?
Good evening. Let us pray. Our Creator, the Father, Almighty God, for this is the day that you've made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. We commend to your protection, mercy, and care the men and women in public safety and law enforcement who've chosen this honorable profession and calling. For today is a day of celebration of their sacrifice, dedication, and commitment to service. Congratulations. For we honor you today for completing all of the requirements through the Prince George's Community College's Police Academy. Holy Father, we ask that you protect and defend their families with your heavenly grace, strengthen them, give them the endurance to face the risk and challenges and dangers that will confront them. Thank you, Father, for this great institution, the president, the faculty, and staff for preparing this graduating class for the journey ahead. Please give them the peace of mind of your omnipresence and surround them with your unconditional love. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Hodge. Please remain standing and join me for a Pledge of Allegiance. A Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we are extremely honored to have many distinguished guests and officials with us this evening. I would like to welcome and introduce our platform guest. To my right is Dr. Yvette Snowden, the Associate Vice President of Workforce Development and Continuing Education, and my boss. Next to her is Mr. Philip Constantino, retired lieutenant from the Prince George's County Police Department and president of FOP Lodge 89 Retired Police Association. Next, Mr. Everett Sesker, who is the executive director of the Maryland Police Training and Standards Commission. There's all kinds of new titles. And retired major from the police department, Prince George's County. Next to him, Mr. Peter White, retired lieutenant, Prince George's County Police Department. He is a Prince George's County Community College adjunct instructor, professor, and retired lieutenant from the police department, and he does continue to teach at our police academy. Next to him is Chief of Hyattsville City Police Department, Chief Doug Holland. Next to him is Morgan State University Police Department, Chief Lance Hatcher. Next to him is Seat Pleasant Police Department Lieutenant Robert Plouffe on behalf of Chief Martin for Seat Pleasant. In the back row of our dais, Mr. Bruce Lewis, one of our instructors and program coordinators. Chaplain Johnny Hodge from the City of Bowie Police Department. Immediate former director and retired lieutenant from the Prince George's County Police Department, Diane Salem. From Prince George's County Police Department, Deputy Chief Grant. And last but not least, one of our deputy sheriffs from the Prince George's County Sheriff's Department and instructor, Corporal Adrian Curtis. And you can give them applause at this time. Also in the audience, we do have some VIPs. Lieutenant Colonel Rocco Priori, Rocky, where are you? And Rocky is the coordinator for our security officers program, and we currently have a class running now. FOP 89 President John Zeke Taleccia represents more than 2,600 active and retired Prince George's County police officers, and yes, he's the one that threatened me. And we have Chief William Lowry, retired from Prince George's County, and he's the chief of Colmar Manor and Cottage City. Couldn't get enough. Had to take two. And then next, I would like to recognize our instructional staff whose hard work and diligent efforts culminated in this evening's events. I often have the opportunity to observe the instructors in the classroom, and I love the fact that they are engaged and impassioned with the students. Would our instructors please stand? All instructors who teach. Thank you. Last but not least is our academy staff. I never knew how hard this staff worked until I started working here as the director. I, like many of you, probably thought, when there's no class in session, what do these people do? Well, there's in-service, comparative compliance, the security officer program, the Law Enforcement Officer Safety Act firearms qualification, and a little thing called the audit by the Maryland Police Correctional Training Commission. Just to name a few. And these things keep them busy throughout the year. We would not be here tonight without the staff, so please join me as we recognize Miss Monica Carrington, Program Coordinator and Compliance Coordinator. She's hiding back there in the blue. Don't let her hide. There she is. Miss Josephine Pryor, Programs Coordinator. And Mr. Bruce Lewis, Programs Coordinator, United States Marine. That's Bruce. United States Marine and Senior Drill Instructor, Officer Tracy Burnett of the Glen Arden Police Department. And to the families and friends of these student officers, can we please give you a round of applause for your understanding, loyalty, support, and love throughout these challenging and trying 6 months. So thank you. I never truly understood what was involved on a daily basis in successfully running this complex program. I would like to thank the former director, Diane Salen, for her continued support and guidance. I'm sure she rused the day. She said, call me anytime if you have any questions, because believe me, I take her up on that on a regular basis. Additionally, I would like to recognize my boss, the Associate Vice President for Workforce Development and Continuing Education, Dr. Yvette Snowden, who continues to provide support as we attempt to expand and move our program forward. Dr. Snowden would like to say a few words this evening.
Percy, thank you. You're going to have to tell me how that boss thing works, because evidently I'm missing something. But first and foremost, I'd like to, on behalf of Dr. Charlene Dukes, President of Prince George's Community College, and specifically the Office of Workforce Development and Continuing Education, welcome family, friends, and distinguished guests as we honor the graduating class of the Municipal Police Academy Session 47. To the graduating class, you have endured an intense, grueling, arduous, and exhausting, you think I can think of some more adjectives, training program that really only a few are called to do. But I want to thank you for answering that call, because I know that you are the best of the best, because only the best of the best make it through it. So for that, I thank you. I also want to let you know that as you continue on your endeavor, on your personal, your professional, and educational pursuits, I want you to know and to remember that Prince George's Community College is now a part of your extended family. And we look forward to supporting you as you go through your professional and your educational journey and you continue on that path. So I hope to see many of you in our academic programs as you pursue degrees and other professional development endeavors. But again, congratulations, and I know you're happy you made it through this night, as we are too. So congratulations, best of luck to you, and Godspeed. Thank you very much.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, she has a very important meeting this evening, which she has to attend to. So thank you for joining us this evening, Dr. Snowden. Session 47 was very diverse. Men and women, black, white, brown. They came from various walks of life and brought varied levels of experience to the program. We have a degreed woman from a little town called Ferguson, St. Louis, Missouri, who is 5 foot nothing, weighs 100 pounds and nothing soaking wet. But I watched her engage during basic survival training with a man who outweighs her by twice her body weight without hesitation. We have a couple of military veterans in this class. We even have a recruit who drove every day from Delaware every morning and was there on time every morning, except for one. And he's working on his master's degree at night, so I was very proud of him. Unfortunately, we've lost a few along the way, but this class faced many challenges and overcame some steep hurdles. But by doing so, I know that each of them are definitely prepared for the rigors and challenges of law enforcement. In today's society, they are very bright, energetic, inquisitive, competitive, inspirational, and challenging. But in the end, they pulled together and formed a unique bond that can never be broken. They are a family. They are now a part of our law enforcement community. Welcome our new brothers and sisters. I are extremely honored to have as our keynote speaker, Philip Constantino. Mr. Constantino grew up right here in Prince George's County. He was born in Capitol Heights. He attended Central High School. And we've had conversations of the integration and some of the things that went on when he was playing sports and football. He actually attended Prince George's Community College. He's a graduate of the University of Maryland. Mr. Constantino was a retired Prince George's County police officer, where he served for more than 26 years. He retired as a lieutenant in 1997. As a Prince George's County police officer, he served in patrol in the Seat Pleasant district where I actually worked. And he was a good, aggressive, effective police officer. As a sergeant, he worked in patrol there in Seat Pleasant. He was selected to serve as an investigator in the Internal Affairs Division, and I had the privilege of working with and for Mr. Constantino in the Narcotic Enforcement Division. Mr. Constantino currently works as a consultant for the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 89 in Prince George's County, which represents more than 2,600 active and retired Prince George's County police officers. His main job at the FOP is to represent officers in administrative hearings. Mr. Constantino worked with me in the same capacity when I served as president of FOP Lodge 89. When he's not keeping officers out of hot water, he serves as the president of the Prince George's County Police Retired Association. He was just recently elected to his 8th term, so I guess he's doing something right. I consider him a colleague, a confidant, and more importantly, and most importantly, a friend. I would be remiss if I didn't mention what he's probably most proud of right now. He's soon to be the father of a United States Air Force Academy graduate and soon to be pilot. Without further ado, Mr. Philip Constantino.
Thank you for having me here today, Percy, and I want to thank Dr. Snowden. She left before I could do that personally. As you can see, I'm not a chief. I'm not an administrator. I don't get up here with 5 pages of well-typed where I sit here and go, as you go out into the world as law enforcement. No, that's not what you're going to hear tonight. You're going to hear what it is to be a police officer with a couple of minor war stories along the way. But somebody that I want to thank, how hard was it to get, is your parents and your grandparents back here? How hard was it to get through the process to even get where you are today, to get in the academy? You had to keep your nose clean. You see Everett Susker here? That's what he does for the Maryland Police Training Commission now. They set standards, and if you can't meet those standards, you don't even get in the door. Congratulations. Moms, dads, grandparents, thank you very much. I know you've gotten one hand today, but you kept their noses clean, you kept them out of trouble, and you got them here. Now, when I go to church on Sunday, my minister says, you make 3 points. You do more than 3 points, the people go to sleep on you, and next thing you know, you're hitting them with fly swatters, the Bible comes flying at you, or whatever. So my first point is pride. Have pride in yourself. Have pride in the way you carry yourself. Don't be a bully out there. Everybody knows you're the police by your uniform. In my day, it was wearing the mirror sunglasses and walking up to the car like you were something. You're not anybody special. You have a special job. The law is giving you the power of life and death on your hip, and you've got to think about that. You can't be, you want the people in your neighborhood to say, I picked out a few names here. If Officer Benjamin comes to the scene, I know I'm getting a fair break. I know that he's a good police officer. I won't be railroaded. I won't be shoved around. I won't have my car searched for no reason. So you have pride in yourself. You have pride in the way you look when you go to work. You don't go with dirty shoes and ugly-looking brass. As Director Austin said, as a road sergeant, I made sure my people look sharp. They have to command that authority. Respect is not given, it's earned. And when you look sharp, the people out there know. The citizens that pay your salary know. You also, you have to have common sense. As he said, I grew up in Capitol Heights. It's 95 degrees outside, and a few of the fellows are standing on the corner. They might have a beer or two in their hand. Are you going to get out of the car and go running up and say, put that down? You're under arrest for drinking in public. If all they're doing is talking, they haven't hurt anybody. Have common sense when you get out of the car. A lot of times you can just tell them, stop, and they will. But you don't even have to tell a lot of them to stop, especially if they show you the respect of they hide the can behind their back or they shove it under the car or something like that. So, you use that so that reputation I was just talking about, that's what you get. Now, one of the cases I investigated when I was internal affairs, an officer goes into a 7-Eleven. You'll be spending a lot of times in the 7-Elevens. Coffee's free usually. So He goes into 7-Eleven. He knows the clerk very well. They're friends. Now, this was back when you could still smoke inside of a building. And she was smoking a cigarette, and for some reason she blew smoke in his direction, and he pulled his gun. Just to be funny. He did, but accidents happen. That's not common sense. He paid a stiff fine for that. Those are the sort of things that you don't do to gain the confidence of your citizenry. Now, another thing you have to do is make your department look good. Now, I'm friends with Chief Holland. When you guys from Hyattsville go out there, your job, I see Officer Hernandez, you're going to Hyattsville also? When you go out there, you have to make him look good. You may not like him, but you have to make him look good. That's your job. If you go out there in the community and you screw up, you, again, get out of the car with that. We used to call it the John Wayne syndrome, but I was talking to my son's fiance. She didn't even know who John Wayne was. She's 18 years old. So maybe it's the Vin Diesel or I don't know, The Rock. Maybe it's that mentality that you have to go up there with that swagger that I'm in charge here now. You need that sometimes, but you'll know when that authority has to come in. Now, my second point is probably the most important. Integrity. Integrity. You always tell the truth. Don't compromise yourself. If the truth is so bad, because you did something so bad, wait for your attorney. Now, that's the FOP part of me talking. But always admit what you did. I have officers come in all the time. As Percy says, I represent officers at trial boards. Major Sesker sat on some of those trial boards as the hearing officer. Don't come in and tell me. The guy comes in and tells me, hey, my sergeant wrote me up because I was late for roll call. And I go, well, first time? You didn't get a counseling form? And he goes, yeah. I call the sergeant. That was his 5th time in a month. At some point, the sergeant has to take control and say, no more of this. You're going to get fined. So always, if you did it, own it. But if it's so bad, then be sure that you go to your attorney. Now, I'm going to tell another little story. I just got back from Nashville, where I met the female officer from Oklahoma City, or from Tulsa, Oklahoma, who shot the man on the roadway. She sees the car standing in the middle of the road. Guy's walking around. She's giving him commands. He won't listen. I'm sure you probably maybe went over this. He reaches into the open window and she shoots him. Well, he didn't know what she was going to come out with. She was found not guilty in court. But you know what her bill was? Her attorney's bill was $403,000. She has the FOP insurance. Now, you guys can join Lodge 9, or I think Hyattsville has its own lodge, and you can get the FOP insurance. And that's something you need to think of so that you can protect yourself, so you don't have them knocking on your door telling your wife and kids, we're coming for him. Now, that's one of the stories that she told, how it was when she was told that they were coming for her to put her in handcuffs. And while we're talking about that, when I was in IA, I had the unfortunate job of putting 6 cops in handcuffs for things that they did. Only one was actually excessive force. A couple of officers put some kids on the ground, shot them in the back of the head with a BB gun. They thought that was funny. When I got up there, I knew absolutely it had to be false. First thing I do, I see the BBs on the ground. Darn, this might have happened. Then I had the sweetest woman who said she was looking at her. Anyway, putting handcuffs on cops is not great. But most of them were integrity violations. Percy and I did this one together. Guy's badge number was 1287. We put $1,287 in a car, took the car, put it up over a curb. He responded. Now, of course, we had reason to do this because we had gotten several complaints from people that he was keeping their money. He'd go to the basketball court, make all the kids empty their money out on the ground, and then he'd keep it. That's stupid. You know you're not going to get, you know you're going to get caught. And when we knocked on the door, and he's at the other side, and he said, who is it? And we said, police. He goes, I'm the police. Well, a few minutes later, he was in handcuffs. Integrity. Don't compromise yourself. Those people behind you that raised you, do you think that you want them coming into the house and saying, Mom, Dad, Grandma, I got something, Pop, I got something to tell you. Yeah, I got arrested, or I'm suspended. You know that you don't want to have to tell them that. You want to be truthful at all times. You know, when you go to the scene of that house that got broken into because the neighbor called the police, and you get there and the back door is broken open and you're walking through the house and there's nobody there, and you're sitting there yelling, see Pleasant Police, see Pleasant Police. Nobody there. And you go in the bedroom and there's some gold rings and some gold chains and maybe a diamond ring. That stuff's got to be there when you leave. We've known cops that, and that's one thing cops will tell on you. People think that there's that blue wall where they don't. No. I can tell you from investigating cases like that, especially a cop that's a thief, they will tell on you. They don't want to be part of that, and they don't want you to be part. We don't want you to be part of that. So think about that. You know what the excuse is a lot of times? Why should the drug dealers have everything? Why should they have the nicest car and the best jewelry? Don't fall for that. Now, this is a tough one. Integrity to your home, to your spouse. You're going to be out there working with male and female officers. You're going to go through some stuff together. You're going to form a close bond. There's nothing closer than police work bond, than military bond when you've been in combat. You got to see the young man from the 82nd Airborne. Thank you so much for your service. When you've been in actual combat, and as Percy mentioned, I have one son in the Air Force Academy. The other son was in Iraq with an Apache division. These bonds you're going to form are going to be tight. But you're going to want to go home and be with your wife, your significant other, your husband, or whoever you have at home. Don't think that few moments when you get off work and you may go to what we used to call a choir practice behind some school and you're drinking beer, that going off with your partner for a while, that you just don't want to do that. And while I'm on that subject, we have more cops suspended right now for domestic violence than anything else. You realize if you get charged with domestic violence, you lose. What do you lose, Everett? You lose your gun right there. That's a job standard. We can't use you anymore. So you have to walk away. You get home at 1 a.m. and your wife rouses in bed and wants to know, how come you couldn't get home earlier? I worked all day. I had the kids. I had to take the kids to sports practice. I had to feed them. I had to bathe them. You got to work that out. Don't make things worse when you get home, even if it means you walk away. And you're going to be ticked sometimes. Wives, husbands, significant others, they're going to come home and they're going to have just seen a baby die. I had one that got run over on Dutch Village Drive. I remember when I got home, I just did not want to be messed with. But yet my wife wanted to talk about something that my oldest son had done. I think he got a note from the teacher and he threw it away. And so, you just don't want that. You'll learn what it is to see people die in the streets. We have psychologists for that, and certainly we will get you help if you ever come to the FOP. But rather than argue with your wife and go hands-on or pull a weapon, walk away, even if you have to leave the house. Now, this is my last point. So I get out of here so Zeke can go watch the baseball game as soon as we give out the diplomas. Guts. Don't back down, but don't be stupid. I'm sure you all learned about cover and concealment. When you guys, I had an officer tell me, a guy that I know very well, he went to the Princess Garden Inn one time. They got a complaint. The guy walked out with a case of beer and a pizza. The guy was big. He got there. The guy threatened him. He said he just got in his car and left. Said, if you got to come back, you send 2 officers. Well, you don't have to try to take him down by yourself, but you can keep him in sight until help gets there. And one of the things I want to say is that you are now in, as Percy said, the police family, and I mean family. All you got to do is identify yourself as a cop, and cops all over will help you. If you're what's the mutual aid that Hyattsville has with Bladensburg and vice versa, they help each other all the time. County officers will back you up. State police if they see you. You are in the police family. So don't back down. One time, I talked about adequate concealment. I got a call for a domestic with a gun, and I get to the house. Everybody's sitting on the front porch, calm as could be. And they're rocking. And this is down in the Clinton area, and I'm like, where's the guy with the gun? They go, he's out back. Oh, okay. So I'm going around the side of the building, and I had my hand on my gun, but when I saw him and his wife, and she's holding the baby, I relaxed. Don't ever relax. I let go of my gun, and as I walked up, I said, "Who's got the gun?" He says, "I do," and he put it to her head. Now you're thinking, my mind was racing like you couldn't believe. I said, "Hey, wait a minute now, fella. I don't want to die, she don't want to die, and you don't want to die. I can't promise that I can help you settle this domestic dispute. I can give you the name of the best lawyers in Upper Marlboro, but you got to put that gun down." So as he turned, I saw him take the gun sideways, and he tossed it. And that second, though, I considered pulling the gun and shooting him, and thank God I saw the gun turn and realized his finger wasn't on the trigger. So you can't relax. Now, you've seen some great acts of courage in the last decade by cops. 911 over 60 charged into a building that was falling down. More recently, Las Vegas, 2 off-duty cops killed because they ran into the gunfire. I'm not telling you got to do that. I'm telling you use cover and concealment and think. Think. And take the guts to apologize if you're wrong. You get somebody out of the car and you think you've all seen the thing with Michael Bennett from Seattle, who was in a spot where the fight at the hotel in Las Vegas, and they thought there was gunfire, and all they see is a man running from slot machine to slot machine. Everybody else is running out the door. He's running from slot machine. That your sixth sense kicked in. What's wrong with that? So they stopped him and they searched him, and they'd rather, once and they realized he wasn't involved, apologize. "I'm sorry. This is why I stopped you." Don't be afraid to apologize. And more importantly, don't be afraid, if you have to take another officer aside and say, "You ever do that again, and I'll never work with you again." Well, that's my 3 points. But I have one thing I've mentioned throughout this little talk right here. And I'm asked this all the time about our officers. We had an officer that was still on probation. Well, this is actually called, "How do you teach stupid?" I'm not sure how you teach stupid. We had an officer that was on probation. He gets off work, takes off his shirt. He still got on the pants with the French blue with the black stripe down the side. Goes to another jurisdiction outside the county. He's looking for a girl. And he sees a girl that he thinks is a prostitute. And he goes up and says, "How much?" And she goes, "You don't want none of this." And he says it again, "How much?" And she says, "You don't want none of this." So he asks the third time. She goes, "Okay, Montgomery County Police, you're under arrest." All that training, all that money we put into him, a job where he was making probably over 50. By the time you start your salary and you get your clothing allowance and your nighttime differential and everything, you're making $50,000. So all that's down the drain because he was stupid. All I want to say to you in closing, and I'm actually done, is to please be safe and go home at the end of your shift. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. There's been a long-standing tradition for the graduating class to elect a spokesperson to address the audience on their behalf. To be selected is a special honor. It signifies the high degree of faith and trust that the class has for this individual. Session 47 has bestowed this honor upon Student Officer Takesha Mathis.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. Firstly, I am honored and humbled that my fellow brothers and sisters chose me to represent our class on this special night. We've spent countless hours studying, learning, and working hard to become a part of a family that unselfishly risks their lives every day for the comfortability of others. 6 months ago, we all made a courageous decision to protect and serve our families, communities, and those dear to us. We have been lucky enough to be given the tools and education needed to begin our FTO process by some of the best officers and educators in this profession. We began a class that was originally scheduled for 24 student officers. Within weeks of beginning the difficult yet exciting journey, we lost 7 student officers along the way, leaving us with 11 student officers. I have personally been a part of a number of teams, but no team will compare to the family we've become. Though I am very proud to graduate from this academy with the student officers that are here before you because of their dedication alone, I can't go without mentioning how competitive we were as a class. I've never been a part of a team that had trouble understanding that there was a such thing as being a little too competitive. There was not a day that went past that we didn't agree to disagree about who was the fastest, who was the strongest, who was the smartest, who was the tallest, and believe it or not, we went as far as having a rock, paper, scissors competition. The males in our class immediately made the females aware that gender had no exception when it came to competing, and we took on the task of letting the males know we were the competition. We didn't just push to be better than each other, but also made a conscious effort to inquire about the records set before us to surpass those as well. We pushed each other to our maximum limitations with no apologies. This alone brought us closer together and reminded us, it's not the fall that kills you, it's the sudden stop, in the words of Mr. Radcliffe. There are a number of us who travel an hour or more sacrificing time, long days, and even nights away from our families and friends. We were required to be in formation every morning at 7:15 to conquer physical workouts and numerous new skills to become the best law enforcement officers that this state has to offer. On the hard days when it seemed like one of us was not going to make it on time during a workout or complete a lap on the track, there was always one of us reminding the other to keep going. There are things that I will truly miss about all of you. We have taught each other about cultural differences, generational differences, and most importantly, the newest lingo. I'm almost positive that the first day you arrive to roll call and decide not to cut your nails or check your gig line, we will all hear Corporal Burnett's friendly reminder, yoo-hoo, because you know what you're about to do just doesn't seem right. When you can't decide which criminal law article to add to your report, you will hear Director Austin's voice saying, come on, you know this. This is pure confirmation that we were taught to be great from the greatest. I am truly convinced that those walking across this stage were not chosen by accident to become a part of the Blue family. We are more than prepared to protect the innocent against deception and the weak against intimidation. We will represent and wear the badge proudly with honor and without fear. There are so many people we owe thanks to for pushing us to our full potential. We would like to thank our director, Mr. Austin, our drill instructors, Corporal Burnett and Corporal Curtis, the administrators, Mr. Lewis, Ms. Carrington, and Ms. Pryor, along with all chiefs, sheriffs, command staff, deputies, families, friends, and supporters who took part in helping us complete this stepping stone. Congratulations to us all, 47. We made it. Our class motto was not chosen by accident. We can now take our class motto and live by it forever. Lead the weak, right the wrong. 47, we are strong. At this time, I would like to call up Class Leader Westbury to help us present the class plaque to our director, Mr. Percy Austin.
Thank you, Student Officer Mathis and Class Leader Westbury. Now comes the event that students have worked very hard for, the presentation of diplomas.
Class, attention. Right, face. Forward, march.
Mr. Constantino will present the diplomas to the members of Session 47. Mr. Everett Sesker, Executive Director of the Maryland Police Training and Standards Commission, will present the Training Commission certificates to the graduates. An adjunct professor, Mr. Peter White, will present the certificate awarding each graduate with 18 credits from the Prince George's Community College for their studies at the Academy. You just stand there. Bruce will hand them to you. Yeah. Mubin Ahmed. Carlos Batanga of the Prince George's County Public School System. Keith Johnson. We'll have Lieutenant Plouffe from Seat Pleasant present. Dominic Page, Seat Pleasant Police Department. Nicholas Brown, Morgan State University Police Department. Ronnie Harris, Morgan State University Police Department. Takesha Mathis, Morgan State University Police Department. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Darrell Benjamin, Hyattsville City Police Department. Kelly Hernandez, Hyattsville City Police Department. Joseph Valco, Hyattsville City Police Department. I've ordered mashed potato sandwiches for Mr. Valco. Sean Westbury, Hyattsville City Police Department. Congratulations to our graduates. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, every class has its own way of distinguishing itself from all others, and every class has among its students those who excel in certain areas. The first award will be presented by Corporal Adrian Curtis, Prince George's County Sheriff's Office.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to start by actually giving my opportunity to congratulate the class with 100 plus witnesses, because everything I say out my mouth within the academy is sarcasm. Okay? So this is my genuine congratulations, and I will miss you. Congratulations. I really mean it this round. The first award is named in honor of retired Major Larry Shanks, the Major Larry Shanks Leadership Award. Major Larry Shanks has been an integral part of the Police Academy program for over 16 years. He had retired from community college as a director of the Public Safety and Security Institute in 2010. Major Shanks served more than 32 years as a member of the Prince George's County Police Department, and also served for 26 years in the United States Army Reserve. Even after his retirement from the community college, Major Shanks continued to volunteer at the Academy. His vision established many of the programs that are currently in the place of the Academy today. The recipient of the Major Larry L. Shanks Leadership Award goes to student Sean Westbury.
Thank you, Corporal Curtis. The Scholastic Achievement Award will be presented by former Director Diane Salen. Ms. Salen is a retired Prince George's County Police Lieutenant. Ms. Salen is still teaching at our academy, but works for the Capitol Police Department in their training division. Ms. Salen was just recently elected Vice President of the Prince George's County Police Retired Association, so congratulations on that.
During this very demanding training program, the students here must pass over 200 Maryland Police Training Commission objectives. In so doing, they are tested through quizzes, exams, and demonstration of hands-on skills. We measure the students' level of scholastic achievement on the basis of a 75% to 100% passing scale. Session 47 distinguished itself by finishing with a combined GPA of 96.56. The student placing third in scholastic achievement with a final grade point average of 97.86 is Student Officer Kelly Hernandez. The student placing second in scholastic achievement with an overall GPA of 97.97 is Student Officer Nicholas Brown. And the student officer receiving first place award for scholastic achievement with an overall grade point average of 98.89 is Student Officer Sean Westbury.
Thank you, Diane. And just for those of you in the audience, just the Training Commission requires a passing score of 70%. When Ms. Salen was director, she raised that level to 75%. So we actually require a higher standard than the Training Commission does, which I believe makes better officers out there. So thank you, Diane. The next two awards, the Firearms Award and the Physical Training Award, will be presented by Officer Tracy Burnett.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The student officer receiving the first place award, as you were. All right. The firearms training program consists of 88 hours of instruction, with each student firing over 1,000 rounds during the handgun training, engaging in use of force and judgmental force training scenarios, and ultimately requiring 3 consecutive qualifications by the student with a minimum passing score of 75%. In third place, with a score of 89.9%, is Student Officer Nicholas Brown. In second place, with a score of 93%, is Student Officer Dominic Page. The recipient of the Firearms Award with a score of 96% is Student Officer Sean Westbury. The next award presented will be the Physical Fitness Award. The physical training program consists of a 1.5 mile run and a minimum number of sit-ups and push-ups in a minute as a requirement. There was a tie for recipient for the Male Fitness Award. First of all, let me talk about these two guys, because they were so competitive that I swear, a couple of times I thought it was going to come to blows out there. For the first time, we did have, originally I held the record for push-ups in a minute at 103. All right. Both of them managed to eclipse that record on the same day. All right. Doing well over 100 push-ups in a minute, which I thought was phenomenal. All right. Completing 71 sit-ups, 93 push-ups in 1 minute, and a 1.5 mile run in 9 minutes and 55 seconds is Student Officer Nicholas Brown. Completing 72 sit-ups, 97 push-ups in 1 minute, and a 1.5 mile run in 10 minutes flat is Student Officer Ronnie Harris. Come on up here together, guys. So just so y'all know, Harris just whispered to me, you know I won that.
Thank you, Officer Burnett. And now the next award is for the Emergency Vehicle Operations Course, presented by retired Prince George's County officer and United States Marine, Mr. Bruce Lewis.
Thank you, Director. The Emergency Vehicle Operators. Yeah, I know.
Come on back. We forgot to do the female award. Oopsie. Really? Just take it back, please.
All right. My apologies, ladies. And now the next award, okay, here we go. The recipient of the Female Fitness Award was able to complete the 1.5 mile run in 12 minutes and 8 seconds. She completed 43 sit-ups and 26 push-ups in a minute. The recipient of the Female Fitness Award is Student Officer Dakisha Mathis.
And like I said earlier, I would put Takesha up against anybody in this class, and I've seen it, except for the day when she came in with the real high hair like Erykah Badu. It was sitting up high. We had to tame that one down. But now, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Director. The Emergency Vehicle Operator course requires the student to successfully complete over 80 hours of classroom and practical application. The students become proficient in skid recovery and control, braking and evasive maneuvers, precision driving, priority and pursuit driving. The student receives score for each driving exercise, as well as written tests. These scores are then compiled for the overall student score. Now, in third place with 89% is Nicholas Brown. Second place with an overall score of 91%, Daryl Benjamin. Now the recipient of the overall driving award with a score of 93.9 is, I'm going to give you my seat, Sean Westbury.
I think I just saw Chief Holland going, Hercules, Hercules. Our final award this evening is the Outstanding Student Officer Award, which I am honored to present. The recipient of this award must meet the following criteria. The student officer must be in the top 25% of the class in final scholastic standing, qualify on the pistol range and the emergency vehicle operations course, as well as maintain a cooperative and respectful record during the entire training period. The recipient of the award was born on September 20th, 1989. He grew up in Prince George's County. He graduated from High Point High School in 2007. He recently graduated from Howard Community College with an associate's degree in social science. He joins the United States Marine Corps in 2008 and was meritoriously promoted to the rank of sergeant. In 2012, he was deployed to Afghanistan in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. He was awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal for assisting with medical, trauma, and triage from casualties of war by saving the life of one local Afghanistan child who stepped on an improvised explosive device, IED. He has also been awarded the Meritorious Mast Award for volunteering with the United States Marine Corps Toys for Tots program. In 2012, he was hired by the Prince George's Public School Systems as a security officer. In that job, he earned the Director's Award for saving a student's life who was choking. On a personal note, wherever this class goes, other officers and agencies take notice of this student officer by his attitude, demeanor, and the way that he projects confidence, except when he got tasered the other day. During a challenging period while this class was in session, this student officer stood up, did the right thing when it was quite a challenge. And so the staff, all of us, were extremely proud of him for what he did. He is working hard to make a better life for his family. This young man wants to be a police officer. And 6 months ago, he said in his own words, so he can provide public service to the community. Congratulations, Student Officer Carlos Batang. A guidon has been designed to represent each class since the Academy's inception. The design and motto are determined by the members of the class. The guidon is carried at all class formations by an individual who is selected by the class. Student Officer Valco has been selected as guidon bearer for session 47. Student Officer Valco, what is the class motto?
Lead the weak, right the wrong. 47, we are strong.
At the end of each session, the guidon is to be retired to the Police Academy to be placed in a position of honor with those previously retired. Student Officer Valco and Class Leader Westbury will now retire the guidon.
Class, attention. Present, halt. Order, halt.
Ladies and gentlemen, I once again call upon Chaplain Hodge to lead us in the benediction. Please rise.
And now let us prepare our hearts and minds to receive the benediction. The grace of the Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the communion of the Holy Ghost be with you all. Amen.
Will everyone please be seated? A sincere thanks once again to our Academy staff and all of our platform guests and to all of you for joining us this evening. Most importantly, thanks to all of the family members and friends who supported our graduates throughout this program. Please join us for light refreshments immediately afterwards in the student lounge. I now present Officer Tracy Burnett, who will dismiss the class for the final time.
Lead the weak, right the wrong. 47, we are strong. Lesson 47, class dismissed.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Man, it's good to see you again.
Yeah.
All right, you know where I am. If there's anything, well, come on over there and have lunch with us one day.
I'll do that. I'll stop
do
in.
that. Please do that. Yeah. We'd love to have you over there. You've been in the building and everything. You've been in there.
I have not been in.
I got to give you a tour then.
Okay.
All right.
I'll give you a call.
All right. Do that. All right.
You guys okay?